Yeah, I think so. I think professors were definitely coming from a good place because in their field they experienced a lot of success and I did well in their classes. So they thought that I would be a good fit for that field and they tried to just like push what they thought was best for me. Um,
Hmm.
but then like how they did it was pretty discouraging, but I just didn't listen
Hmm.
to them because I have like
All right, guys, welcome back to In Orbit with Samuel Hebda. I'm here in the studio with Grace Ling, who is a UX designer at Electronic Arts and founder at Design Buddies Community. It is one of the fastest growing communities for design with over 8,000 members in less than 6 months. She creates content to help designers, students, and community builders. She's spoken at dozens of events and podcasts and has been featured in the media and won several awards for her design and art. Her goal is to create digital experiences that people enjoy while making a social impact on user experience and product design. Grace, thanks for joining us today.
thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm glad you could make it. You want to start by telling us a little bit about your path as a founder from a young age and how that all got started as a creative.
Yeah, of course. So for me, growing up, since I was born, I probably went through about 4 different career aspiration changes, and I feel like I learned a lot from each of them, and it really just like drove me to kind of go my own path.
Yeah.
Growing up, I want to be an anime artist, and I just loved drawing, and I wasn't really into school. I would always just like randomly just like draw comics in class, keep and scream in class, keep people on their toes, and I just love making people laugh and entertaining people. And then around the same time, I also ran cross country and track. And I was really into running. And I
Mhm.
had a running and lifestyle blog that kind of blew up on Tumblr because I would share like struggles and like learnings I would go through in life.
Oh,
So I've
really?
always just like, yeah, I've always been on the internet since I was like in high school or middle school. I've always just been
Oh,
active
wow.
on online communities. So I was kind of like, I love like social media entertainment, just making people laugh and feel
Hmm.
entertained. But then in college, I came in as a bioengineering major, and my
Hmm.
goal was to become a neurosurgeon and an MD PhD. That
I
was
love it.
highly, thank
I
you.
love the ambition.
Thank you. I also grew up in a really competitive environment. So all the kids in my high school would always ask for my GPA, what grades I got in class. And that really influenced my decision to become a neurosurgeon and also an MD PhD. My intention of studying bioengineering was to learn how to biohack myself to run faster because I had dreams of running in Olympics and I just wanted to learn the ins and outs of biology and chemistry so I can like hack my body to like run faster in
Yeah.
some aspect
Yeah.
in some way. Yeah. Yeah. And then
That's awesome.
thank you. It was fun. No, actually it was not fun. I learned the hard way that I should never do like pursue any career path just because it might look prestigious or look good on my resume. So after
Hey,
two
I've been
years of
down that
working,
same path. I'll tell you,
yeah.
I was actually a pre-med student at NC State. I wanted to go into
Oh.
medicine and do anesthesiology for the longest time. Since I could remember, like as a kid, I wanted to be a doctor. It was just straight down that path. And it wasn't until after college and I was taking the MCAT and trying to get in, and I got just above average for the MCAT. And I was like, that's pretty much the effort that I've been putting into it. And then that's when I realized like that was not my career path at all. So I totally get that. Like the switch, the whole shift over and going against expectations for you. That's not easy to do. So
Mhm.
how did you break away from, let's say, your destiny or whatever you thought was your destiny?
Yeah, for like when I was going to college, I was like, for sure, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
I was like staging myself, like all my extracurriculars and all my like course loads was like staged around like getting into med school. I was
Yeah.
studying up to 12 hours a day, trying to get
Yeah.
good grades, getting research, doing research in gene
Yeah.
therapy. It was really hard because I like honestly, like when I was honest with myself, I always like look forward to going home when I was looking in lab. Like I just like was not excited. And my professor,
Hmm.
he's like
Yeah.
super nice. I was doing lab work like my freshman and sophomore year, and then he would notice that I get really excited when I talk about video games, and like not as excited when I talk about cells. So he gave me permission to quit, and like I like needed that, and so it helped me like actually get the permission I needed to quit because before experiencing like a lot of like success in terms of like getting grants and
Right.
getting media features and stuff, like, but I was just like not liking any moment of it, but I was just like telling everyone that I liked
So you
it
had the
just because of
productivity
it.
side of it. You were able to get the stuff done, but you didn't have the motivation to do that stuff specifically.
Yeah, I feel like over time I just kind of found other things I liked and then
Hmm.
lost interest, but was afraid to admit that I lost interest because I also like I had like grant money and stake and stuff like that too.
Mm.
But then my professor, he's like super nice. He just like wants to support me. So he just like noticed that I was not excited at all and he let me quit. And I just needed that.
That was the kick in the butt out the door.
Yeah. I know you probably did it a nice way, but like I feel like I was doing a good okay job or a good job.
Yeah.
But yeah, but then that was like the best one of the best things that maybe could have happened at that time because it helped open my doors to other things because I
Hmm.
was interested in games. So there's this virtual reality lab that been opened at my school. So this is my junior year. It was 2018. And then I started just watching YouTube tutorials and I teach myself how to 3D model, how to design games. I played a lot of games in the past, so that also helped a lot and
What kind
helping
of
me.
games do you play?
I played RPGs and like puzzle games. So I love like simulation, puzzle, or role-playing
What's your
games.
favorite? What's your favorite game? I'm a big game
Me,
player. I used to
me
stream on
too.
Twitch a ton.
Oh wow. I love
Yeah.
Maple Story.
I used to stream League of Legends a lot. And
Nice.
then I
I
got
love
into Rocket League, which was a mistake.
yeah, I love the music from League of Legends. I listen to them when
Yes.
I study.
Yes. It is very
Yeah.
beautiful. And their art is really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite one's Legends Never Die.
Yeah. That's interesting though that video games kind of pulled you away from the biomedical engineering side of it and brought you into more of a creative world where you got to express some of the things that you had enjoyed your whole life.
Yeah, like when I was in games, well, I
Yeah.
was in games for a while, and then I loved virtual reality because I feel like I've always just like loved creating comics, creating stories, and creating things when growing up.
Hmm.
And biology, I feel like, and bioengineering specifically, like I feel like you can be creative, but then you're so constrained by like the constraints of biology. So,
Hmm.
and the work, it's always just like repeating the same experiment over and over again,
Hmm.
and I'll always just get bored
Yeah.
even though I'm like doing like really really important work, but for me it was just really really boring.
Oh, I know. I was recombining genes in
Yeah,
biochemistry, like
same.
recombining genes, and I'm like, why am I not more interested in this? I love
Yeah,
the lab. Like I loved the organization and the methodical steps to create stuff, but in the end it wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. And
yeah,
I
same.
don't think it took me a lot longer than it took you to realize this. So I graduated and it wasn't until 2 years ago, actually right around the same time, I guess, but you were still in college when you realized this. I graduated in 2016. So about 2018, I started abandoning the whole medical school pursuit and taught myself Python. And that's where it all started. And then I got into web design after that and yada yada. But that's really interesting that you got into that field from biochemistry and biochemistry because that's sort of the exact same position that I was in.
Yeah, bioengineering, but it's similar. I did biomolecular engineering, which is similar.
So what's the
Yeah.
difference?
Yeah, biochemistry focuses more on like the chemistry side, like the
Hmm.
OChem and like the reactive groups. It's been a while since, so I might be a bit like a little vague on these topics. But biomolecular engineering focuses on like more cellular parts. So I worked on using exosomes, which are extracellular vesicles for gene delivery. And
Wow.
biochemistry focuses more on like like chemical reactions. But for biomolecular engineering, we work with cells.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's what I remember from 3 years ago. It's been a while.
Well, tell me
Kind
how
of blacked
all
out.
that played into developing this selfie game.
Yeah, so when I was discovering VR, I loved VR. Taught myself how to code, taught myself how to
I
3D
love it.
model, how to
I
make
love it.
VR. Thank you. I just like loved games. I was drawn to biology because I love the story cells tell. I think
Yeah.
like how they react and how photosynthesis happens is
Yeah.
super cool. And I feel like it would be make a really cool story. I was like a fan of biology, like I'm a fan of like anime, a fan of games. I hated like working in the lab, but I was just like I just loved like what goes on. I thought it was super cool. So I thought it would be cool to combine my gaming background and also my technical skills to make a game. And then Selfie was born. It was my first time also that I realized that I'm not bound to my major. Like there's so
Right.
many resources online that I don't have to stick with bioengineering. I can just like learn whatever I want on my own and get any job I want. So that led to me just like leaving the medical world and going into like, I guess, engineering, like software engineering.
Hmm.
So I did focus on like computing and computer science for a while as well. And I did a few internships in game dev and a few like research stuff in VR and game dev. And then I interned at Intuitive Surgical as a virtual reality robotic surgery game developer intern.
Oh, that's a
Um,
mouthful.
yeah, that's my actual job title. Sometimes it doesn't even fit forms.
Just abbreviate it.
Yeah. And it was interesting. Like I enjoyed it. But for me, I feel like it also like kind of same thing. Like I feel like software engineering for me, it's not the best fit because I'm always just like repeating and just like trying to solve the
Yeah.
same code, same
Yeah.
problem using code and repeating it over and over again until it
Yeah.
works. So it's like similar thing with experiments and working in labs. Like I just didn't enjoy that type of
This is
work.
so crazy. This is like you walking me through my own experiences.
That's awesome.
I got into AI and machine learning, and it was just fascinating. Like I loved it, but it was so much of the same thing.
Yeah, it does seem like
Yeah.
it. I never did AI machine learning, but I can
Oh man,
imagine.
it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I know you were looking at doing something like that for your Discord, for the bookmarking thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wh-
I did a case study on that actually. It
Yeah.
was for a product design class.
Oh, that was for a class. Okay. I was really interested in that because we just started using Discord for pretty much everything paradigm related. So all of our internal teams are now on Discord, but we've run into the exact problem. Like if I had read your case study, I probably would have said, "Hey, we should look at other software." But that is a good point because it's hard to find messages. And if Discord ever watches this, implement bookmarks. Like that's a great idea.
Yeah, I actually know the designers there and I sent it to them.
Oh, really?
They have a long
Is it
backlog
coming?
though.
Can we get
They
a
have a
little
long backlog.
they have
Yeah,
a
I
long
can't
back.
tell. Yeah, they have a long backlog.
Discord is awesome. I convinced
Yeah,
Sunny, our founder at Paradigm, to switch everything over to Discord because I
that's
had been using it for
awesome.
a long time. I had a Discord with like 300 members for my Twitch stream, which I thought was a ridiculous amount of people. But then I saw yours and it's what, over 8,000 now?
8,400
8,400, and it's been going for less than half a year, right?
since April. Yeah,
It's
we're
April.
almost 6 months old.
How? So tell us,
Yeah.
tell us the story of this success journey.
Yeah, of course. So it all started with me kind of leaving off like engineering, like leaving off
Yeah.
CS. I cuz I so I after I graduated in 2019 from undergrad, I graduated with a degree in bioengineering and a minor in CS, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I knew I didn't want a job in like that field and I didn't want to take a gap year because I feel like my parents would judge me for not doing anything. So I just did a master's in computer science engineering because I
Just
knew
a
I want to work
casual
somewhere in tech.
master's. Yeah.
Yeah, I stayed at the same school though because I didn't have to take a GRE.
Yeah.
Or I also need a professor so I could get the TA-ship for the tuition paid for. So I studied computer science and engineering because I knew I want to work somewhere in tech, so I just like
Mhm.
studied that. And after a few months and like majoring in that, I just realized it wasn't the right path for me. And I kind of discovered I kind of knew what UI UX and product design was, but I was always just like kind of confused what it was because there's so much like resources online. I was just like confused, but then
Mhm.
one day I was scrolling through Facebook and I just joined a bunch of groups. Like I'm in like
Mhm.
over 100 groups. And so I just saw this class called Students Who Design. And it was like this free 10-week live product design course. And I was like, oh, this looks fun. So I signed up for it and I took it. And then that's the class where I learned the fundamentals and worked on that Discord bookmarks project.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
yeah, it was fun. And then I realized I loved design. It was so much fun. Like I didn't feel like it was working. I loved just like prototyping in Figma and making interactions there. And I kind of brought that in. And then for me, like, so this is like during October 2019 is when I started my journey in design. And
Wow.
then I tried to apply for internships. I struggled a lot because I was getting ghosted everywhere. Um,
Yeah.
so I had no connections because I was in engineering before. And then I
Yeah.
worked on a lot of hackathons and a lot of like freelance work. And then I was also like, so I created Design Buddies because I was new to design, and I had professors telling me that I should stay in my lane, how I shouldn't be doing design, how I should be pursuing engineering because that's what my degree is in, how all my career choices are wrong. And it was just like really, really weird. But I just like, you know, people, sometimes when people tell me no, it means a yes to me. So I just like kept going because I'm just like, they might be experts in their field, but they don't know about my field. And I know they're like trying to like promote their field, but then I don't need their permission to do design. So I just
So
kept
did anyone
going.
tell you, was anyone like, Grace, this is not right for you. You need to be going to you need to go do something different. Was anyone actually on your side with this?
I don't know. I think so. I think professors were definitely coming from a good place because in their field they experienced a lot of success, and I did well in their classes. So they thought that I would be a good fit for that field, and they tried to just like push what they thought was best for me. Um,
Hmm.
but then like how they did it was pretty discouraging. But I just didn't listen
Hmm.
to them because I have like yeah, and I just didn't listen to them. So I actually looked for some design communities online. I
Hmm.
joined a bunch of like other design communities like on Facebook, on Slack, but I
Hmm.
feel like I was just like overall judged negatively for not having a design degree. I wasn't taken seriously, and like I sometimes I would post on my work just to like get some feedback, or I'm just proud of it, just want to share what I learned. And people would like call me out for being a beginner or something like that, or like not a real designer. So I was just like, this is not
Hmm.
constructive. And so I just created Design Buddies because I feel like I didn't fit into any other design communities. I didn't have any mentors or support system in my life, in my design career path. So
Hmm.
I decided to create Design Buddies, and make the mission like being inclusive and diverse and welcoming to all designers of all backgrounds, and in keeping everything, all the resources free, and just make friends. So I shared it on the Asian Creative Network, and that was the first group that the first people who are in Design Buddies are from Asian Creative Network. That's actually how I met Sunny. Um,
No.
yeah. Yeah, so so the first people were in Asian Creative Network, and it kind of just like grew from there because I always just like I had moderators that helped me out in the beginning, and I just like created a positive and welcoming space of sharing resources, and then making a space where no one can feel judged, and it
Hmm.
just kind of blew up from there. And now we've been growing a lot because people have been sharing about us on in
Hmm.
with their groups on their social media, without us asking them to, which is pretty cool. So
That's
it's been like
awesome.
really exciting, and I didn't expect any of this to happen. Yesterday we landed a Discord partnership, so it's been really exciting because like just 6 months ago I was just like a small potato student, and like with no name in design, and now I'm here, which is really cool. And along the way, I've also landed my internship at Electronic Arts, kind of like during the end of May. And I got in through like networking on LinkedIn as well. So I had that, and I feel like honestly feel like Design Buddies and like my personal branding and like activity on LinkedIn helped me stand out with the
Hmm.
hiring manager to help get me in. And
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
yeah,
sure.
and it's been fun. And so yeah, that's what I've been kind of up to with doing Design Buddies and EA. And I'm doing the fall internship as well because I was able to negotiate a fall offer.
Oh, that's awesome. So I have multiple questions from that, but first of all, I want to know when did it really start to take off? Because there had to have been a point when you noticed the momentum starting to build with Design Buddies, right? What point
Yeah,
was that? Since it's all happened over the last year,
yeah.
less than a year.
Yeah, since April. So in the beginning was definitely a bit slow. I just kept going. I feel like first impressions are also pretty important. So in the beginning it was like slow a little bit, and then I started just like advertising it on like different Facebook groups and just like
Hmm.
at events and stuff. So I kept growing from there, and then like I just started sharing resources, sharing events, and just like encouraging conversations, and people just kind of started to like participate and talk and share with their friends too, and I started just doing events. And then we also had a team of admins to help give us like our bunny logo and like branding and everything too. I feel like we've been kind of consistent. Like it was a bit slow in the beginning, but I feel like after like May or June, we were consistently growing at like 1,000 members a month until
Wow.
like July when we launched our website. We haven't slowed down. We've been growing 2,000 members a month since July.
Wow.
So we launched
I
our
love it.
website. Thank you. We launched our website in July, and we launched our social media, and we got big on LinkedIn. And then we launched like all the other social media as well. And now we're like kind of doing more events, later doing merch, and later doing conference. And I
Oh.
feel like what helped us grow the most is that we always focus on maintaining a healthy community. So we have moderators who are all in different time zones, making sure that
Mm.
nobody says anything controversial. No one just like makes anyone feel uncomfortable. So we have moderators from all time zones. I feel like that's like a really crucial part of our growth and reputation, and making sure like the community is safe and people feel safe talking,
Mm.
and that's why they want to invite their friends. That's why I didn't feel in other design communities. I feel judged, and
Right.
yeah.
Well, how do you define that then for your moderators in your community?
Yeah, I guess like for us, we have like rules. Like people are not allowed to like say anything like political, like even mention
Mm.
like any political name, because even
Yeah.
though these are really
Yeah.
really important discussions to be had, but
It's not the
these
place
this
for them.
yeah, it's not the
Yeah.
place. So that's high because I know like people
Yeah.
of different backgrounds, they can react totally differently. So we avoid like politics, religion, and any like depiction of violence or any harassment or anything like that. And what I personally do and what some of the admins do, like mostly me, some of the admins they DM, but I like if someone like posts something mean and I like quote them on Discord and I say this is not the right place to do this, please take this somewhere else. Like even if they delete their message, it's still there. So if they like do something like that publicly, then I call
Yeah.
them out publicly, and that also helps maintain it. I have zero tolerance to like
Zero
people who try
tolerance.
to cause problems.
Right. No, I agree. And I like the point you made that they are important conversations to be having. People get into so many heated discussions, right?
Hmm.
They're always trying to get started on something. And I always direct people to other groups, other places like this is a place to talk about X. Just keep it
Yeah.
focused.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, like, I'm not encouraging them not to talk about it, but
Right.
also like take it somewhere else.
Right.
This is design community.
Yeah. So you don't discourage, constructive criticism inside of the community about design, right?
Yeah, anything like as long as it's like constructive, it's not like saying like, oh, this sucks. If it's
Yeah.
saying that this can be improved because the contrast may not be accessible for people who may be color impaired,
Hmm.
colorblind, or like vision impaired, just like things like that.
Hmm.
That's what we encourage.
I love it. So what would you say that the key to the success of your Discord is?
Yeah, I definitely think making a safe community, but
Yeah.
also like as a leader, I made the community about like the people. Like I enable people to lead themselves. Like for example, we have like a book club, we have a movie club, we have a game club. So they're all led by members of the community who have been active. So I lead the know initiatives under Design Buddy's name, because I feel like as a leader, I don't want to make everything about myself. I want to let people like give people the opportunities to lead some of their own initiatives within, and then like having design buddies to give them people to be in their club. So I have that, and just like basically like combination, just like creating a healthy and like a safe space, and also empowering people and enabling them to lead their own initiatives as
Mhm.
well, so they feel like they're part of the community and they feel like they're like part of it, they're helping out, and they feel just like more included and feel like part of it overall.
That's awesome. I mean, that's so powerful.
Thank
I love
you.
that you're doing that because people need to feel included, and it's such a beautiful thing. It's such an incredible thing when you are part of something like that. That's for the betterment of mankind, that you're part of something beneficial and helping other people. I want to go
Yeah.
back all the way to the early, early days of Design Buddies when you were putting it all together.
Yeah.
How did that start?
Yeah, so I actually created, Sunny was in this chat too. I created a messenger chat. I posted on Asian Creative Network one day. Um, so I guess like I can like touch a little bit about like my background in community building, because growing up
Yeah.
I was actually really shy. I was always told that Asian women shouldn't speak up like that.
Hmm.
So
Huh.
yeah, because like I grew up in
Is that a
uh,
cultural? Is that a cultural?
yeah, it's like a stereotype. But for me, I've only just been like kind of rebellious against these stereotypes, because people tell me I can't do something because of my ethnicity, then I just like tell them no. It's just like nature. People tell me no, it means yes. So
Yeah, when people tell me no, I'm just like, it's gonna push me in the other direction.
yeah, I'm like really fueled by people who told me no in the past. Yeah, but for me, growing up, I was honestly pretty shy. And then like during last year at this time, I went to Grace Hopper conference, like the really large conference for women in computing. And I posted in this Facebook group. I made this event about this meetup, this random meetup I planned at Disney Springs at this restaurant. And over 400 people, this is overnight as well. So the event happened like 24 hours after I posted the event. So 400 people RSVP'd, 100 people came throughout the night, all over the world, all continents, all time zones in restaurants. We took out the whole restaurant. And my first time meeting 100 people from the internet for the first time. And it was just like really nerve-wracking, but really fun that I decided to do the same thing again and again every week in my local community. And so there's this Facebook group called Subtle Asians Bay Area where it's just like Asian friends in the Bay Area. And I just like started hosting work study sessions every week. So I met a few hundred people through that. And then the pandemic happened, took these online. And then at the same time, I was kind of starting my career in design. I was like, okay, I want to make some design friends. And I posted an Asian Creative Network if anyone's interested in creating like a design group chat on Messenger. And then like 200 people commented on my thread and then added them all into a chat. And then like this is actually back in February. It was not that active, like because it was really active in the beginning, but then I think people just like felt a little nervous about talking in the chat because it gave everyone a push notification, and it's like one chat. And so in April, someone suggested making a Slack, but then I have a long list of reasons why I prefer Discord over Slack. So I created Discord, and then kind of blew up from, and then at first it was not that active, but then I just like kept promoting it, and it kind of blew up from there. I was part of Subtle Asians Bay Area, and I made a lot of work study sessions, and then the virus happened, and then everything went online.
Yeah.
And so I've also like was kind of career transitioning into design, and I wanted to make some design friends. And another Facebook group I'm active in is Asian Creative Network. So I made a post there asking people if they wanted to create a design chat, just like a friendly chat on Messenger. Over 200 people replied to my thread. I made a group chat. It was really active in the beginning, but then it started to die down because I think it's just one linear chat, and like people felt a little nervous talking in it because 200 people. So I created a Discord server a few months later because the Messenger chat wasn't that active. So I created a Discord, and then because it's so much easier to join, like on Messenger I had to add people individually, but then on Discord I can just send people a link they can join, and then I have all these channels people can talk in and share their work, and have different topic discussions running at the same time. And so it kind of grew from there, and I also like really focused on what people wanted. I did a lot of user research and market research. I'm in like over 100 communities, just so I know like what kind of channels are there, what kind of topics people talk about, what are their pain points. And I survey people a lot as well within the community. I collect feedback, both qualitative and quantitative metrics. And they're used to iterate.
Very scientific. I love it.
Yeah, thank you. It's definitely a UX process or like a product design process that I use to do design buddies, like starting with a lot of like user research, market research, seeing what's out there, and then launching features and collecting metrics and iterating from there. So that's the process I've followed since the beginning and that's how we grow.
I do like your process. I was looking through your website and how you laid out the whole design process for the Discord upgrade. It's like, this is brilliant. I mean, if all design was done this way, we wouldn't have such crappy designs.
Yeah.
It's very data driven.
Yeah, I care about metrics a lot. Like I always like use data to inform my decisions, and just like making sure I'm actually designing features people actually use. And so that helps me just like be able to keep moving forward, not launching things that don't get used.
How did that drive the development of the Discord? How did you iterate on the Discord layout in a way and get feedback from people in a way that it kept growing and sustained the momentum over time?
Yeah, so we have anonymous surveys, and I always like ask them questions like, what do you associate with design buddies? Or like, what kind of features do you want to see? What kind of features do you not like to see? Rank the feature from most to least important.
And people take these surveys.
Yeah, I have a raffle to get some stickers I make. I also run an art business on the side, so
that's good.
That's my incentive. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like I market it as a 1-minute survey. And so that also, and plus there's free sticker
A 1-minute
raffle.
survey. That really depends on how fast you take surveys, doesn't it?
Yeah. I also make it so it's multiple choice and like drag and drop. So, and then the last portion, I have it where people can like fill in or like write anything they want to tell us, and all anonymous as well. So that's how I was able to get all our responses. And I always just like in the chat, sometimes I always like ask questions. I will ask like random questions like, react if you want, like which day do you like meetups to be on? Do you prefer like weekdays after work or like weekend afternoons? And then people react. So just like casual polls that are easy for people
Mm,
to do, to just click on an emoji
okay.
for their option, and just like little things like that. I would just like always use to collect metrics, and sometimes I'll start discussions like, what do you want to see on our social media? And
Yeah.
then kind of go from there. And we also have a focus group, so which is like the top 20 active members, and then we have meetings every 3 weeks or once a
Hmm.
month. We kind of discuss what's going well, what's not going well, and kind of things I like to see, and just like general feedback from people as well. So I've also had a team of 10 admins I manage or lead. I like to use the word lead than manage.
Hmm.
And I also have a team of 20 people in our focus group, and I also have a team of 45 mentors. We have a mentorship program, so 45 like senior designers in industry volunteer their time to be mentors for us. So I get a lot of feedback from each of these people to make my decisions and kind of go from there. And I also have a lot of delegation. So I'm not like like there's a people who help like moderate the community 24/7, and so I can like focus on my work as well. So
Oh,
I guess a
nice.
combination of feedback, delegation, um, and event planning, and just like moving things forward,
How
just
do you get
keep
people
driving
to
it forward.
do moderation for you?
People want to do for free. Like I was so surprised. Like for the first two admins, Brian and Jess, they just like they're part of the messenger chat. They just wanted to help out with that. And then our rest of our admins, they applied. Like we had applications in July for admin positions, and in July we were probably like 2,000 or 3,000 people large, and then and within 1 week we had 70 people apply for admin positions. We didn't even ask. We only
Wow.
asked like two short questions, but the people sent in full
What
on
did you
cover
ask?
letters
I'm
and
curious.
resumes. Huh?
What were the two questions?
I think like what do you want to do? Wait, let me think. It's been a while. I think like why do you want to be admin for Design Buddies, and what kind of features would you like to like what kind of programs would you like to create in Design Buddies? But yeah, I just like kind of asked people like those two questions, and then
Yeah.
we interviewed like the admin team, not just me. We kind of split it up. So we interviewed 11 from those 70 and took on four. And then a few people, I think the mistake I made in the beginning was that I've also like before I had the applications out, kind of backtracking, I made a mistake of taking on everybody who wanted to help,
Mm,
and which led to people who just were active for the first 2 weeks, but then just like ghost us because they got too busy.
mm.
So I definitely had to like remove some people, but then they were like totally respectful, totally understanding. But from there on out, I've learned to like filter people. But some of those people who just asked to help stayed. They're actually one of the most active admins. So it really depends, but I definitely think some screening process needs to be implemented. So now for if you want to take on new admins, you only take on people who are from the focus group and have been active. So I know they can be online and dependable when it's like something happens and stuff like that too. So that's what we assess in our admins.
What's this focus group?
A focus group is a top 20 members who just give us feedback. So it's basically an extension of our admin team, but they don't have any like moderation powers. Like they can't delete messages, they can't create channels, but they always give us feedback and like contribute to conversations along the way. And just like they just like want to help out as well, and just help us
Yeah.
like feedback and give us advice along the way
Do you
too.
use Me6 to track engagement?
Yeah, we do. We actually have Me6 and StatBot, which ranks the people based on how many messages they sent. So that's where we, based on how many messages they sent, that's how we selected people for a focus group. And then we also check their background, like check if they have a proven track record of just like not causing problems and
Hmm.
stuff. So yeah, so it's definitely like really, really vetted by
I
all of
love
our
it.
admins.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I love all of this because, I started the Vortex with kind of a similar idea in mind to open source the resources, because everything I learned on design and programming, I taught myself. I mean, even from an early age, like 12 years old, I was taking apart computers and Googling stuff when I needed to find out what it was. So I've always been a big proponent of open source information, and that's kind of the idea, is a source, a place where founders can come and find out how to run a business, how to start a business, how to write a pitch deck, how to develop their brand and their image and their personal positioning, all that kind of stuff, and just share it between people, because it's all there. We just need a repository, a place to go to find this information. So I love that you've done that with Design Buddies. And personally, as a designer, as an artist myself, who hasn't had a formal education in design, I think it's an invaluable thing. So
Thank
I
you.
really
Yeah.
appreciate what you've
I
done.
also don't have a formal education in design.
Yeah,
People always ask me what my
yeah.
certifications are. I'm just like, I have none.
Well, you have a pretty impressive background as well. I mean,
Thank
you
you.
graduated, yeah, you graduated with a 3.74 GPA
Yeah.
in
I spent too much time studying.
and a bunch of honors and a bunch of groups. Yeah, I looked through all of your stuff. It's just incredible what you've done.
Thank
What would
you.
you attribute to your drive and your determination to achieve from an early age? Like,
Yes, from
was
an
it
early
just
age.
your parents? Was it just your parents pressuring you, or?
No, actually, so for me, as a shy kid growing up, I was actually bullied a lot from a young age. In middle school, kind of a little story time, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit trigger warning. So, essentially, when I was in seventh grade, I talk about this a lot. I'm like totally chill with this topic. So,
It's
there's
fine.
this.
I've heard it all before.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, of course. So, when I was in seventh grade, I was a shy kid, and then I had this like eighth grader. She was apparently a quote unquote popular girl in school. She stole $500 worth of my Nintendo DS games. So then I
Not
asked for it
cool.
back. Yeah, I asked for it back. She wouldn't give it back, so I asked for it back again, and I guess was just raising my voice.
Hmm.
And she just like started just like saying no because um and she knew she stole my games. Like I had friends who like went to her house and like saw them at her house and stuff. um and so she didn't give it back. So and then she got her all her friends to kind of like, because I was just like bothering her to get it back. She got her friends to like gang up on me, and to the point where they're telling me to like not live anymore. And just like because I
Whoa.
asked for it back, and I was just like, I was also like a really mad kid, so I might have not used the most polite language. But
Mhm.
then like her friends also at the same time like told me to like not live anymore, like chase me around in
That's
school,
terrible.
cyberbully me, and just like harass me online, like on all the time, like online, on
Wow.
forums, doing anonymous messages, like really, really gruesome messages to like me as a 12-year-old kid.
Oh
Um,
man.
yeah, it was really
That's
bad. It
traumatizing.
taught me a
Ugh.
lot though about life. It taught me how to really pick my battles. And yeah, it was really traumatizing. Like it was, people just basically told me to kill myself like every day, and like in school it chased me around in school, pushed me to the ground, threw food at me, also bullied me
Wow.
online. But then I fought back for like the first month, but then I learned to like ignore them. Like I just like realized it came to the point where I'm just like, why? So around eighth grade, so a few months I was kind of like fighting back, also ignoring them and just like focusing on drawing. And
Yeah.
then in eighth grade, my mother started paying me $6 an hour to go to the gym with her. So that's how I started running. And
Hmm.
running, I suddenly got really, really fast at running. And I remember just improving my mile time from like 10 minutes to like 5:58 in PE as an eighth grader. And I just like became like the fastest girl in school from like a couch potato. So running really taught me like that I could just like focus on myself and like improving myself instead of fighting back to the people who didn't want me to exist anymore. So I
Right.
just started focusing on myself and just like ignoring the haters, because I like from a young age I had the choice to work on myself or spend my time and energy to reply to people who weren't constructive. So that kind of carries on to
Yeah.
today, where I do deal with professors and people who tell me that I'm not qualified
Hmm.
to do design, or just all my career path. I always put myself all along out on the internet a lot, so I always experience a wide variety of people with different intentions. So
Hmm.
it really helped me like filter out people who weren't constructive, who didn't have good intentions, and just like focus on myself and focus on the nice people and focus on like how I can help people instead of just like focusing on like negative people. So that's how I'm motivated today. I'm motivated partially on the motivation to prove people wrong, and also just like uh, and also just
I
like
love it.
thank
I
you.
love it.
And also really learn how to pick my battles from a young age and just keep moving forward from there, not letting the haters just drag me down, because I don't owe anyone a response.
Yeah, I personally feel like the haters just give me more energy, more fuel, right?
Yeah, like I'm so motivated. Like every time someone tells me no, I'm so inspired to prove them wrong. So that's another where another where energy comes from. And then like in high school, a lot of the kids who told me not to live anymore were like asking me for running tips. It was crazy. Like in high school, I like continued focusing on running, made it to like nationals, like claimed all the school records, and then now they're
Wow.
telling me they're trying to like ask me for running tips, and that just like inspired me to like keep moving forward and
Mm-hmm.
ignoring them. And yeah, yeah. So like I guess from a young age, because of that experience, that's how like I'm like the way I am today.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
I love that. So how would you say your personal positioning has developed, and how have you overcome that fear of putting yourself out there?
I asked myself, what's the worst that can happen? Is people to not like me. I'm just like that. That doesn't that their opinion doesn't matter to me. So I'm just like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'll just keep moving
Mm-hmm.
forward. I just basically have a very like I guess thank you next mentality. Like if
Mm-hmm.
like that's why like I'm just like not afraid to like reach out to people or just like put myself out there because what's
It's
the
so
worst that can
vital.
happen is people yeah, like I don't care if people like don't like me, like that doesn't mean anything. So I just keep moving
Yeah.
forward. Yeah.
Yes, if you're listening to this, just put yourself out there, make the call, talk to people. How would you say, Grace, in terms of positioning yourself as an expert without having a degree, what's the best way to do that?
I guess like for me, um, like for me, I guess like from like my high school days, I was posting a lot on Tumblr and I was just like sharing my experiences and my learnings. And because I've been doing that for several years, I built up like a following. And then on LinkedIn, I just like, yeah, I'm just curious why people also like my content, even though I'm like an intern sometimes.
Hmm.
I guess like for me, I've always just talked about my stories and I talk about like what I've learned. And I feel like for me, most of my audience is actually like students and new grads and they can relate to me.
Hmm.
But I also talk about like life experiences or anyone can relate to me. And so I think I guess like framing myself as like a quote unquote expert without having like too much experience is that I try to be really relatable and just
Hmm.
like talk about the struggles that can like everybody face, but like sometimes people don't talk about like imposter syndrome, feeling like they're not experienced enough, and just kind of how I overcome them and stuff. So just being relatable and talking about how I kind of overcome these fears is what people, I guess like what kind of gets people really interested.
That's awesome. So what do you see this all leading into then?
I guess like my future plans.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
with
for
design buddies in
yeah,
particular.
yeah, design buddies. I definitely want to make it the largest design community in the world. And I just want to be a place where designers can just like be chill and just like be nice and just like make a friend.
Mhm.
And because like for me, part of it is because in other design communities and design in general, I was afraid to go into that because I felt like there's a lot of gatekeeping, a lot of people kind of being like very they have like too much ego, I guess, and it kind of scared me away, like because I didn't have an art degree or a design degree. So I kind of just like but I feel like right
Yeah.
now designers are like super nice, like compared to all the other career fields I've been in, like they're the nicest people.
Yeah.
Um, but I just want to just like kind of be the like I just when people think of design, I want them to associate with design buddies, and so because like you're like buddies with your stakeholders and buddies with your customers because you work together to like design something to help each other out. So
Yes.
that's my overall goal for design buddies, just to make everyone just like nicer and just feel more welcome because it's not something I experienced. It kind of like for me, I just didn't see too much of that when I was from my personal experience and like growing up and like moving towards a career path. So I just kind of wanted to
Yeah.
change some of that.
So do you consider yourself a business founder with design buddies?
Yeah, we're actually incorporating to a nonprofit. So
Oh, really?
yeah, I didn't expect it to grow that big. I just like want to make friends and had some playful branding and just like wanted to have some fun. And then
Hmm.
people just like liked it. And it was fun. And then yeah, and then like it kind of inspired me to go into I guess like when I graduate, I definitely want to work in like social media or the entertainment industry, and I specifically like to go into like building communities because I feel like design has the power to influence a lot of people and to educate a lot
Hmm.
of people. And right now, like cyberbullying is a huge issue. So I feel like with design, I can just like help people make more informed decisions, just like inspired by my experiences running design buddies and also childhood experiences growing up. And so I definitely really want to build design buddies, but also work in like companies, like in social media or like communications to just help people make more informed decisions.
So do you think that design is applicable to every single business out there?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Because I feel like designing, it's like for a business, they always have to like generate revenue somehow. They get
Hmm.
customers. So it's important to like design something that balances both, like solves the problem itself, but also like balances the user needs and business goals to drive revenue.
So what is the link then between, say, a tech industry and the design field. So you have somebody developing an app, but you also have a user base that you want to test. How would somebody go about that through Design Buddies?
Yeah, I guess like for Design Buddies, we're just a community. So like Design Buddies also has places where people can do surveys and record user research participants. Because we want to, we're not planning to tie to any like particular other business. We're planning to stay independent, but also like a central hub for designers to hang out, get help, get feedback, get events, and also get survey participants, which are really important and sometimes really hard to get.
Yeah.
So we have a survey channel just for that. So people can share their like user testing or user research in there too
Oh,
to
cool.
recruit participants.
That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
yeah,
How- I want to switch topics here because I don't want to take up all your evening, but I really am interested in this virtual reality surgery. Can you
yeah.
tell us a little bit more about that? It's a really
Yeah, of
interesting.
course. Yeah, so I interned last summer as an intuitive surgical. They make the Da Vinci robot, which I don't, I it was like really big a few years ago, but there's this viral video of the Da Vinci sewing together a grape.
I've seen
Um,
that.
yeah, so I worked with that. I interned for that
That's
company.
awesome.
Yeah, it was really fun. And for me, my goal was to make surgery more easy to learn, like robotic surgery easy to learn. So I basically like went through the whole ideation phase, but most of it and like created a game to train surgeons to like learn like improve the hand-eye coordination in doing these robotic surgery. So I tied like other elements, like I made like a little cooking game to like cook with a Da Vinci robot. It was
Oh,
fun.
cool.
Uh, yeah. So it was fun. Most of my time was actually spent developing though, because I had like there was like an artist on my team who's a contractor. He like sources people from Southeast Asia
Hmm.
to make all the models. So like my job was mostly software engineering, but I got to do a lot of just like ideation, well, game design, game theory, game research, and also testing and just like prototyping. A lot of prototyping, a lot of white boxing, and also
Hmm.
a lot of coding, a lot of testing, a lot of user testing, a lot of iterating upon the results and user testing again. So it was interesting. But I would say like 80 to 90% was me staring at code.
Hmm.
Um, but it was like I learned that like probably not the right career path for me, but I had like I really enjoyed like interacting with my team. Like they're super chill.
Hmm.
But I also learned that the medical devices industry is really, really different than the gaming industry. I feel like company culture, culture meaning just like overall like vibe, I guess. Company, I guess interactions or I don't know, company culture, I guess,
Hmm.
is
Yeah.
actually important
Workplace.
because yeah, workplace norms. Because intuitive like people are super super nice, but I felt a little afraid because people were like really really professional and like I find them like more scary to approach.
What
And
is it
versus
like? People say straight collar work environment, right?
yeah, I guess because they're medical devices, so they have to be like
Yeah.
more serious
Yeah.
because people's like lives are at stake and stuff. Like that's totally expected. But my
Yeah.
team was engineering team, so people like wore jeans more and like t-shirts more. But we were on the same floor as marketing, and they're like all suits and ties every day. It was interesting. We had a little we had our little like space in the first floor, and it was cool. And then and then at EA, even though it's all virtual, everyone's like so chill. Like everyone just wear t-shirts and talks about their pets and their kids and like what they did over the weekend and what anime they're up to. And just like I just feel like I can just like vibe more, even though it's all virtual. I just feel like it's a vibe or
Oh, tell
vibe
me
me like
what is
connect
it
more.
like to work at EA? That icon has been a huge part of my childhood, just popping up on my PS2 as a kid
Me
was
too.
the
Yeah, it's
greatest
been
thing.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been super fun. I played The Sims so much growing up. I had like the Wii and the DS games and like the iOS games as well.
Yeah.
Um, I just like it's really fun. Like I definitely feel like I'm in the internship program. They
Hmm.
definitely have a lot of resources for interns. We have like a lot of events. They invite like celebrities to talk with us.
Oh, wow.
Um, and I got a lot of like I'm on the experience design team. So I'm not directly working in the games department. I'm working in information technology. So I work on products like the player experience. So I work on
Hmm.
products like the EA help site, designing employee intranets, designing virtual events. So like basically everything besides games, which I like because I don't know if I want to work in game UX because these skills in game UX are more niche, and these skills I learned at an internship at EA can be applied to any other industry.
Mm.
So I worked on the experience design team. I continue there in the fall as well. So my team is mostly designer with some UX researchers and content writers. So it's been fun. Like And yeah, it's everyone's just like super chill. Like half our teams in Redwood City, half our teams in Austin, and just like different time zones. Um, and we have like team parties, and you get a lot of free food and expense them for events. And then yeah, it's been fun. Like also
What
cooking.
celebrities have you met?
You know, some TikTok people.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't get on TikTok, so I probably
and some
wouldn't
actors.
know.
Yeah, I don't really watch movies or go on TikTok, but
Yeah.
I just listen to the life advice.
Yeah. Do they give good advice?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I feel like a lot of times, like for this is like for me, I feel like I go to a lot of like events like that, and I feel like they're all pretty like generic, like, oh, follow your dreams, like things like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't
Yes,
know, I
yes,
just
yes.
like go just in case I learn something new. But yeah, but generally I like listening to their stories and like how they was able to like grow big or just like focus on a niche and really capitalizing on like a problem they're solving. So I just like learning their stories and like how they solve through problems, how they develop something that went viral, because it kind of inspires me to keep
Yeah.
growing. It's like inspiration for me to keep
Yeah.
growing Design Buddies and creating content, just like these content creators.
Yeah. Yeah. So you always look forward, even when you reach, a landmark, you're still looking for the next landmark, the next growth point, the next metric, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
like
I
that.
like running. I also run a lot, so I feel like it's like running. You don't really stop, so I just keep going forward and
Yeah.
running forward in life,
Right.
and not stopping for like anyone who just like, yeah, or just like anyone who just like doesn't wanna. I would guess like doesn't have like great intentions, I guess. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So working for EA in that department, then, I mean, I guess if you were working in the actual game development, you'd be doing much more like code and I don't know, maybe you'd be getting into stuff that you weren't so interested in. But do you feel like the internship you have and the position you have has played a big role in developing design buddies?
yeah, I feel like I use a lot of like leadership processes I learned in my team. Like our
Yeah.
director has like set meetings. Like we have like in a typical week we have like weekly critique, weekly team
Mm-hmm.
stand up, weekly happy hour. I also collaborate a lot with PMs and software engineers
Mm-hmm.
and have one-on-one. So I definitely carry these leadership traits from my director to leading design buddies. Like we have
Yeah.
a weekly stand-up meeting, we have critique sessions, we have one-on-ones.
I love it.
Yeah, so
Copy paste, copy paste.
I feel like these tips like help. Like I feel like I like feel like benefit a lot like on a team at EA. So I was like, okay, these are
Yeah.
like good structures to have during meetings.
Mm-hmm.
So I took inspiration from that when
Mm-hmm.
leading design buddies.
And
It's similar team
don't
size as
reinvent the
well.
wheel if it works, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you run it basically like a business, and that's one of the keys to the success, having structure to something, right?
Yeah, I always like I feel like for me I'm always like really business minded. I feel like I've always like focused on like what's the impact, right? What's the metric I can track? Like how do I measure success? And just like making sure moving forward with every single decision. Like so I'm just making sure I'm not like wasting time. I'm like designing things that actually like give the overall like organization or business like more value overall.
So how do you track the success of design buddies? Do you just go based on how many users you have?
No, we have actually like our analytics, and we have stat bot. So we have a bot for stats. So we check up how many messages a day, what's the retention rate, how many people open the Discord, how many people chat per week,
Hmm.
how many messages sent per day, how much minutes a day spent on voice chat, which channels are more active, and the number of chats each day for channels, deciding, and that'll help us decide which channels we need to get rid of, which channels we can keep, or how we reorganize. So a lot of
Oh,
metrics, and also
wow.
like how many times people open up Design Buddies a day, how many times a week people check, how many new members a week, how many new members a day, and how many chats per day. And yeah, we have a lot of metrics.
Is that all one bot?
Yeah, we're a combination of, so we're a Discord partner and we also a community server, so we have access to analytics. Um, like Discord has
Oh,
its own
right, right,
analytics,
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
also have a bot to track like the how many messages per user and like how we
Hmm.
message to help us determine who to be our focus group and like which
Yeah,
channel and like how many messages per channel to decide which channels we might not want to keep anymore because they're not used. Because we have over 50
yeah,
channels.
yeah. I've been in there. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So where do you think your biggest influx of designers comes from?
LinkedIn.
Really?
In our
I
survey,
would not have guessed that.
I asked people like, how did you find out about design buddies?
Yeah.
It's usually like people share it on LinkedIn, or I share on my LinkedIn. I also do a lot of talks, so in a way that I feel like having a brand name, like as cheesy as it sounds, like I guess like as like superficial as it sounds, like I feel like after I got my internship at EA, I've done over 40 or 50 speaking sessions since June. Just like at events, hackathons, conferences, schools, classes. Um, and so that helps me just like gain some kind of reputation, or like some kind of just like form of like authority to like be giving design advice. So combining me going to speaking events and doing talks and like talking about design buddies at the end, people also come from that as well. So it also connect with me on LinkedIn. So it's like mostly LinkedIn and like talks, and also people plug us in like their groups as well. So I would say mostly LinkedIn and my talks. Oh, I think you're frozen. Oh, okay. Hello.
Hey, I don't know what's going on with my internet today.
No worries.
Oh man, that's awesome though. I
Thank
love
you.
uh I love everything you guys are doing over there, and there is a lot of channels for sure.
Yeah, they're all really active. We try to balance like what people want, like having a diverse, because we're a diverse group, so we
Yeah.
have different channels
Hmm.
to suit different needs. But if they become inactive, then we archive them on the bottom. We never delete
Okay.
anything though, just in case people want it back.
Oh, really?
But it's on the bottom where people can just hide it.
So I have a question. Is the video quality, do you guys use the video chat for anything?
Yeah, we do. We have meetups on there.
Okay. Is the video quality good enough, or do you guys get better video quality being Discord partners?
Video quality is supposed to like we do get better video quality being Discord partners actually.
I knew it. I knew
Yeah,
it.
and better voice quality.
I knew the better voice quality, but they don't say anything about the video quality on there.
Oh, yeah. I think it might either be like Discord partner or our server boost. Either one of them. I haven't like looked too deep in the perks,
Hmm.
but in server boost, I think that's one of the categories as well. Yeah,
We got our
we're on
first
like level
level.
2.
We
Yeah, we're level 2. Um, so we have better video quality for that and like better streaming. So yeah, that
Do you
I
guys
think
put out any content yourself, like produce
yeah. So
content?
we mostly do events, but we've actually released our first blog article like yesterday
Oh, really?
on our website and stuff. So we have a whole content team.
Yeah.
So basically we have an admin team, a content team with a team of 7 where we have 3 leads. I'm not leading it because I'm already leading everything else. So I
Hmm.
like encourage other admins to lead, so they have. So I lead a team of 7 content creators who create content like blog articles, YouTube videos, and we have our focus group and our
Hmm.
mentors. So that's another sub team we have in Design Buddies doing our content. That's coming soon.
Oh, cool, cool. So if people want to find out about that and check it out when it does get released, where can they go?
We'll see our LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. So any of these platforms you prefer to follow us on.
Yeah, and you can find out about Grace too at graceling.org. Dot,
Grace-link.com. It's
dot
our
com.
portfolio site, but also she has a personal website.
Yeah. And check out everything that she's done there. Some incredible stuff. She's been on a lot of different talk shows and podcasts and in different news articles for her achievements. Just an incredible story of success and determination against all odds and bullying. And just, I love what you're doing with your life and the mission to help other people and provide information to people in a safe environment. And that's what we're
Thank
trying to do
you.
with the Vortex as well, is create a safe environment for founders. So if you guys are watching this and you haven't checked it out yet, go to paradigm.cx/vortex, and you can go to paradigm.cx/inorbit to check out the full episode of this if you're looking for that. Um, Grace, I really appreciate you coming into the studio and sharing your story and the story behind Design Buddies.
Thank you so much for having me on. This is a fun conversation.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I see a lot of parallels between our past, and it excites me to see where you're going to go in the future.
Yeah, your
So I
story is
look
really
forward.
interesting as well. It's really cool that we share so many similarities.
Yeah, I didn't realize that at all. As soon as I read your profile and saw that you were in the science fields, I was like, interesting. How did she make that transition? So it's cool. It's cool to see that. And despite everybody who didn't believe in you and who told you that it was you were chasing a dream, you made it.
Thank you.
You
Yeah.
made
I
it.
love I love love proving people wrong.
Yes. Well, keep doing it, and I'm sure you will. I'm
Thank
sure you
you.
will. All right. Well, that is all for today, folks, and we'll see you next Thursday in orbit. Take care. I'll stop the recording. I really appreciate